Once a week, twice a week, every day, everyone has an opinion on how often you should train each muscle group. The research has an answer, and it's more nuanced than any of them admit. Training frequency is the number of times you train a specific muscle group per week, and the optimal frequency depends on one thing above all others: your ability to recover between sessions for that muscle group. The classic bodybuilding approach is hitting each muscle once per week with high volume. Chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, legs on Thursday. This works, but the research suggests it's not optimal for most people. Here's why. Muscle protein synthesis, the process that actually builds new muscle tissue, stays elevated for roughly 24 to 72 hours after a training stimulus in intermediate to advanced lifters. In beginners, it can stay elevated even longer. After that window closes, the muscle is essentially waiting for the next signal. If you only train chest on Monday, your pecs are growing from Monday through Wednesday or Thursday. Then they sit idle for 4 days until the next Monday. Training a muscle group twice per week keeps the protein synthesis signal elevated for a larger percentage of the week. Instead of one large stimulus followed by days of nothing, you get two moderate stimuli that keep the growth signal more consistent. The research on frequency is remarkably consistent. A 2016 meta-analysis by Schoenfeld found that training each muscle group at least twice per week produced significantly greater hypertrophy than once per week, even when total weekly volume was equated. The frequency itself matters, not just the total work, but there's a ceiling. Training the same muscle 3 or more times per week shows diminishing returns in the research unless you're managing volume carefully. The issue isn't the frequency, it's the accumulated fatigue. If you squat heavy 3 times per week, each session must be lower in volume than if you squatted twice. Otherwise, recovery debt accumulates and performance degrades. The practical sweet spot for most intermediate lifters is training each major muscle group 2 to 3 times per week. This typically means full body sessions 3 times per week, an upper-lower split 4 times per week, or a push-pull legs rotation hitting each pattern twice. Volume distribution matters as much as frequency. If your weekly target is 15 sets for chest, splitting that into 5 sets across 3 sessions produces better results than cramming all 15 into one session. The quality of each set stays higher because accumulated fatigue within the session is lower. Your 8th set of chest is significantly less productive than your 3rd. There's a minimum effective frequency too. For maintaining muscle mass during a cut or a recovery period, training each muscle once per week with as few as 6 to 9 sets is typically sufficient. You won't grow, but you won't lose what you have either. This is useful information for deload phases or periods when life limits your training availability. Individual variation matters. Some lifters recover faster and thrive on higher frequency. Others need more time between sessions for the same muscle group. Joint health, sleep quality, stress levels, nutrition, and training age all influence your personal recovery rate. The only way to find your optimum is to test, track, and adjust. The Swole Journal logs every session by muscle group and exercise. Track your frequency, compare your progress across different splits, and let the data tell you how often your body actually needs to train. Get yours at swolejournal.com.